Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuesday Tea with me, Alisha Bowker Mudrock. Today we have Natasha as our guest. I had the pleasure of meeting her in my Pilates studio in Miami. She's an incredible, badass instructor. Very much great goals to look forward to for myself as I continue my journey of the teaching. But she had a job in corporate America for many years and then really just was like, you know what, forget this. I want something a little bit different, and took the same teacher training that I did just the year before me and is now teaching Pilates and living her best life. She has two cute little chihuahuas, Tequila and Masala. She's married. She's living it up in Miami. And we're so lucky to have her today as we talk a bit more about how to think about balance. Is balance even possible? What that means? And I'm going to turn it over to her to share a little bit about that word and how it comes up in her own life and some wisdom she has for us on the topic today. So welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's funny because when you asked me to do this, I was, first of all, so shocked. I was like, oh yes, I would love to. But also I was like, what is balance? What does it really mean? To me, right? Because it can mean something different to every single person. And I just went through leaving corporate America and moving into something that better aligns with myself and my energy. And so it was really fun for me to kind of like reflect on it a lot before the call today. So for me, I kind of like came up with a very simple, like my definition of balance would be finding like the yin and the yang, like the productivity versus like finding space for things that allow me to feel at peace. I don't know if I ever really incorporated balance into my life until probably COVID, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. I never thought about balance. I was just like, go, go, go. I have a tendency to not slow down. So I also have a brain that like doesn't like to shut off. So I am like, okay, like I can't just sit at home. I have to be cleaning. I have to be doing this. And when COVID happened, I was like, whoa, now I have to sit with myself.
Right.
And also like I can't go, go, go. I'm stuck in the house. So I think that was like my first introduction to thinking about, what I really want, reflecting on stuff. And that kind of like was what I was thinking, like with balance is the first step you would have to do is what is balance? And then the second step would be like, okay, what's really important to me? Because I think that that's a lot of times I was trying to find balance on things that and seeking like outside validation or society like telling me this is what balance is and this
like
is what I
should be doing.
Yeah, I had a therapist tell me, she's like, stop shitting on yourself.
Yes.
Because I would shit on myself all the time. I'd be like, I should be doing this, I have to be doing that, and she's like, but why?
Right.
And it's true, but why? And so actually my most recent manager said something similar when I was reflecting on leaving my corporate job. She's like, well, what do you really want? Like, you're so focused on, I need this promotion, I need to do this. But she's like, but do you want that? And I didn't. So,
yeah.
I think like, I don't know, I'm going off now, but I feel like, COVID kind of pushed me into self-reflection. I really started to like go down that area of like wellness and like movement and finding meditation, different podcasts and reading about, how to be just a better version of myself. And then, we moved to Miami, and that kind of catapulted everything because Miami is such a different culture than what I'm used to. And when I first moved here, I'm like, what is everybody doing all day? Like, what are these people doing? I'm like, why are they going so slow?
Yeah.
And now I'm 2 years here, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm vibing it. I like in a good like middle space, I think, between the two. But yeah, like, you know, the biggest thing was like for me was figuring out what was really important to me, and that only happened through like slowing down.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be obviously different parts in your life where maybe you need to be more go, go, go. But at this point in my life, I felt like, okay, I've never really sat with myself and figured out what I really wanted. I just did what I thought I should be doing. And so when I did end up, you know, just really like sitting with myself for a good year, I swear it was like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Should I not do this? And then when I finally did it, it was just such it. When you find something that aligns with what you want, it's like almost like balance just comes.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like so much more to say. I feel like I could talk about this all day.
I think you brought up some really great points. I think on one level, even as I created the topic myself, I feel like some part of me is like balance is bullshit, right? Like we're never gonna be 100% even. So maybe another word, because you think of balance like it's perfectly balanced, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I don't think, and I think you were saying this as well, their definition, I don't think that's the true definition of balance. It's not that everything's equal. I think maybe a way to think of it is like you're living in more of alignment, right? And I was just doing a Peloton walk this morning and with Jess King, and she brought up like she's like who can be balanced, but we can figure out
Right.
what we can control, right? And I think that's what you're bringing up, that often we live in this autopilot, and I think especially in our society where like productivity and hustle and like if you don't have 10 jobs and like never take vacation, you're
Yeah.
not doing it right, is king. That we forget that we have a choice. And I think COVID really did force a lot of folks to sit down and be like, oh, I don't have to be doing all of that. Or like, what do I want to be doing? Like, what does it feel like to just like be for a minute or not have to go to every family holiday or do everything or attend 80 meetings a day in person, you know? And so I think like what you're saying of slowing down and figuring out your values to then get more in alignment, and then the rest falls into place. But you need
Exactly.
everything. You need some hustle, you need some slow, you need some diet and exercise, you need some fun and like, you know,
Yeah.
fast food Fridays, and you need vacations and you need family. And so yes, everyone's perfect mix of that is going to be different because we're all different people and in different seasons it might change. But I
Right.
think that's a great reminder that it balance isn't one thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean equal or, you know, like perfectly matched or symmetry, you know, whatever like
Yeah.
comes to mind in that like more
Right.
abstract way.
Well, and you said like with the different seasons, especially for women, right? We go through 4 seasons in 1 month. And thinking about it from that perspective, you know, I had to also learn to be gentle with myself. So, like, hey, like maybe right now I'm not feeling this. So, like, I often tell myself, like, check your energy. Like,
Yeah.
am I doing this because I need to work out 5 times a week? Or am I doing this because my body is craving movement? Because I like, you know, like sometimes your body does need to rest. And like sometimes it, you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to like do 2 workouts in a day. You know, like and I think again, the balance isn't always like the equal. It's like, okay, like maybe this week my balance is resting on the couch 3 extra days, and maybe the next week I'm doing more. And I think
Yeah.
like finding acceptance and not feeling guilt and shame with listening to yourself, because I think we're so used to like, again, listening to other people, listening to society, that we forget to listen to ourselves. And it's okay if what our balance looks like doesn't look like somebody else's.
Right. And like no one else can tell us what ours should or is supposed to look like. And I think especially as women, we're socialized to give our power away very quickly. And even from well-meaning people, a partner, a doctor, even your Pilates instructor, right? You know, like, well, this would be best for you or whatever else. I think advice, input, seeking out the wisdom of others who have different expertise and viewpoints than we do is so important. But at the end of the day, it comes back to our gut, right? Like, we know ourselves best. We truly know how and what balance feels and looks like for us, and no one else can be the author of that. And
Yeah.
every time we let someone do that, even in a well-meaning way, we're giving a little bit of ourselves away and we're denying ourselves something that we really deserve, right? So I think that's so important, like you said, that our balance can look different every single day. It's, the same formula for ourselves isn't even the same every day, but
Right.
remembering that we get to author that and it isn't for others. And like, let's not so quickly run to others to ask what they think, or let them be
Yeah.
that narrator,
Yeah, I just listened to a podcast about Kabbalah, which I don't know a ton about. I'm not here saying like I'm an expert. I just listened to one podcast and it was really cool because it says to kind of like when you're making big decisions to kind of not really tell anybody, because you can allow like the evil eye to come to you, and that doesn't mean that that person wants ill will, but that means that you're allowing like somebody else's opinion to like infiltrate your decision. And like that's, you have to be, it has to come from you. And so again, like sitting with yourself, identifying what you like, being confident in it, is going to make such a difference. You said something else too, and I was going to piggyback off of it, and now I lost it. So,
well, if you remember,
I remember.
Okay, go for it.
You said something about like, along the lines of like taking what, or made me think of like the saying that I think another therapist told me, like, when you're reading like self-help books or you're listening to podcasts, like you don't have to take everything as like an all or nothing thinking. Like you can say, I liked only this one sentence in this podcast and it spoke to me and I'm going to listen to it and I can forget the rest. Like I don't have to, which was not something I always did. I used to be like, okay, like I read this self-help book and it's all or nothing. I have to do exactly what it says. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. Do what, only the pieces that feel good to you, and then like forget about the rest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think too, on that vein, sometimes the thing you read that one time, you needed that one part of that chapter. And then you're like, in 5 years later, you're like, oh my God, remember that book I read? And remember that whole other part that I thought was bullshit. And now I'm like, that hits so deep and I need that now. Right. So some of them never need,
that's happened.
but even in our own life stuff, I even say to my clients or just to other people, like sometimes I'm like, whatever. And sometimes I'm like, I need to hear this so bad. Right. So it just reminds us we're constantly just evolve. Like we're constantly moving, evolving, changing, growing. Like our cells are always, whatever they're doing, dividing, multiplying, destroying themselves. Like we're never the same person at any given second. Right. And I think we sometimes get stuck in this tunnel vision of, well, this is how I did, or this is how it's supposed to happen. Or I'm supposed to be in my 20s. And well, okay, but you're now 35, you're now 58. Like you're in a whole different part of life. Like maybe a lot hasn't changed around you. Maybe it has, but you have changed throughout that. And I think when we can harness our growth and have more vision around where we're headed, it's so beautiful. And like you said, when you just switched to the new role and you finally quit the job and did the Pilates training, or like in this space here, now you're like, oh my God, this makes sense. Because you finally like harnessed the growth. You probably could have killed it. You could have kept climbing the ladder. You probably could have made a great salary.
But
it wasn't
I know.
like the thing.
I was like, okay, I know I can do this, but do I want to? And it didn't feel good to me anymore. Like I was in human resources and I kind of went down the like leg of recruiting, but I really entered human resources because I wanted to help people, which is why I wanted to do Pilates, not only because I love doing it and it's the only thing that like really truly makes my body feel amazing, but I want to help other people find that. And there comes a point where you're like, okay, this isn't what I thought it was. Like human resources isn't always at a company to serve the humans. And so I think that I no longer, and like, this is what I told them when I left. I'm like, I no longer feel like I'm aligned with and maybe this is temporary, or maybe this is for the rest of my life, but like right now I don't feel like I'm aligned with corporate America, and I just need to leave. Like because it was causing me so much anguish that it was bleeding out into everything.
Yeah.
Like my relationship with my husband is better now. My relationship with my friends is better. Like I feel like I can just be myself and be authentic without like always feeling like on edge or like paranoid if I take PTO, or like, all of these like toxic, the things that are in corporate America. I mean, and then it's not all bad. I had a lot of really great years at my company, and they sent me to get my master's, and so like there's a lot of positive things that came from it, and
then you outgrew it.
And I found, and like because of what it was is why I took the Pilates teacher training. And so would I have found that if I didn't go through what I was going through there, And so just kind of like being like, okay, like this is my own path, this is you have to figure it out on yourself. And I think that just comes again, like finding so cheesy, finding yourself, self-reflecting, and like you said, every day we're changing. So like if tomorrow don't want what I wanted last year, then I have to like just keep flowing. So like finding a flow state.
No, and I think those are all such great reminders, and it can be really scary. And I think I work with a lot of women in their like early to late 30s. And I feel like it's the new, like other midlife crisis. Like we're not totally midlife, but it's like the one before the other one we might have. And so many people are like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Right? Like I did the things, but I think especially for people born around a certain era, like it was like, you will go to college, you will do the thing, you will have massive debt and maybe get a job at the end. And and we're like, okay. And then I feel like whether you have children or don't or whatever, at this point, like everyone's kind of waking up and we're all like, wait, but what happened? Like, but driving the bus all these years, what do I even want in life? And some people can't even answer that question. And I think that's where that sitting with yourself is important. Yeah. And it's a beautiful and scary, but exciting journey when we can. Because just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And just because you've done something doesn't mean it's still working. And it's okay to leave something that isn't bad, but just isn't the right fit anymore. It's okay to move even when life is good if you feel like you need that change, whether it's a job, a relationship, a location, etc. Right? I think we always wait but it doesn't have to be terrible, or doesn't the city have to burn down for me to be like, I guess that wasn't for me. Like not necessarily. Like any big change I've made has always been when something isn't necessarily like bad, but I wasn't growing anymore. It wasn't fitting anymore. Like it was just time to do something new. Right.
I used to I'm recently learning that things don't have to burn down for things to change. Like something traumatic doesn't have to happen for me to make changes. And I mean, I think that's just from, different experiences I've gone through life, because that's what has happened in the past. And I think that, it's okay if you don't, like you said, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do or what balance looks like for you or what your flow state looks like for you. Like we're all humans. Like our job here is to be human. Like
great. And
like we are here
together
just to be human. So just like experiencing it. And what really, really helps me is trying to every day think about gratitude and what I'm happy for and what I'm thankful for. And that brings a lot, it's so crazy because keeping your mind in a good state is a full-time job. But the more you do it, the quicker you rebound, like before I would sit in something for weeks, and now maybe I sit with it for a day or two, and I'm like, okay, stop loving intervention. We don't need to be in this headspace. We can choose. And also if there's a cycle too, I would get down where it was I'm in this headspace and now I feel guilt and shame because I'm in this headspace. And then I continue to feel it because I'm like, it's like a rabbit hole. And so I don't have to feel like, again, like releasing like the guilt and shame of what I should and shouldn't be doing, or if I acted as a human, as we all do, and say something I don't wish I would have said differently, or done something that I should have done differently. It's like, okay, well, like also like we're humans, and the people that you surround yourself with, if they, you know, love you, then they understand that, and you don't have to
like yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Be the judge and the juror on yourself when
you're
doing your best, right? I think that's great. I think a gratitude practice is super helpful. Literally, there is such a thing as positive psychology, that the more you look for the good and know you're going to be asked to look for the good, the more your brain will start to notice it and retain it throughout the day. So that there is like a science behind it, because we are naturally more negative beings because we need to survive. You know, like, is the saber-toothed tiger coming? Is there going to be food? Who's that? Is that danger? But we don't need that level of like wariness that we might have a long, long time ago when man walked and didn't know their friend or foe. So it's important to put those alarm bells on when we need them, but like sometimes they're turned on too much. So it is like a job of retraining our brain to see the bright side, which goes back, I think, to the balance. They're not always equal, good and bad, but there's always something good on your worst day of your whole life. And there's something that didn't go great on the best day of your whole life. Like, they always coexist. And it's creating space for both, and not giving just so much power and attention just to the one side, the negative side, because there's always stuff happening on this side as well. And the more you can see that, it doesn't mean that the bad isn't feel bad, that it's not a hard day, a hard season. We don't want to be toxic.
Yeah, don't want to diminish it.
But this is real too, right? Like, it just pulls you just a little more in alignment. So great reminder. Do you have any takeaways, tips, little easy, not easy, but quick ways that folks can just remember or create or connect to their balance in their own life that you might want to share?
I mean, like, again, the biggest thing for me was like gratitude, check your energy, and sit with yourself and, you know, journal. I journaled a lot. I journaled for like 2 years before, about doing teacher training, before I did teacher training, which is extremely long. But I had to like write it out. So, I mean, just sitting with yourself, finding what you feels good, check your energy after you do things. Did this feel good to me? Did it not feel good to me? Do I have anxiety about doing something? Which sometimes can be a tool. Like, I mean, but you know, just, everything that we've kind of like already talked about. The big takeaways is, you know, especially with a corporate job, would be take the plunge, because you won't regret it. I mean, you know, I know like this, it's scary because like your hours are different, well, depending on what you're doing, but like my hours are different, my pay is different, but I feel so happy, like so happy that the small amount of extra money that I might have been making at corporate America does not make up for it.
Right.
So, I don't know, just, those are my key things, I guess.
No, I think those are great. And is there anything you want to promote or share, or where can people find you if they want to connect?
Yeah, well, we both did teacher training at Pilates in Miami. There's 2 locations, one in Wynwood, one in Little River. I teach at both currently. So if you're ever in the area, feel free to come to one of my classes. My name is Natasha or Tash, depending on what you want to call me. But great community of women. Like, our teacher training, the best part about it was conversations like this. Actually, we would get distracted a lot by conversations like this. There's so many amazing women there. It's just like, oh my God, I found like people that get it, you know? And that is powerful. Like, finding a community. Well, actually, that should be the key takeaway. Find a community that wants to do and likes the things that you like, and wants to grow and wants to find balance and flow.
Yes,
Be
yes.
good.
Yes, no, definitely. I'll make sure to have her Instagram and I'll put a link to the studio in the newsletter. So if anyone's in the Miami area and wants to sign up, I practiced there for about 1.5 years before we moved. I miss it every day. It was an incredible space, definitely a wonderful community to be a student, or if you're interested in the teacher training eventually in the future. But thank you so much for being here today. Such a great conversation. I feel very full and
Yeah, me too.
so
Yeah.
I
And we
appreciate
miss
it.
you too.
I'm
Just so
sorry?
you know, we miss you too.
Oh, thanks.
I just took the class you're normally in, and I was thinking about you. So
Like, I haven't been to a studio yet. It's on my list, but I've been trying to do stuff at home. It's not the
yeah,
same.
I get it. All right.
Well, thank you. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.